interpretation based on Scripture. I base it on what I know to be that which I call reality. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. No, it totally makes sense. And Free Ride in the chat room just said that it's back. So we'll just see. I'm just going to be kind of glancing over at the chat room to make sure that that things are okay. But no, you're absolutely right.
And I really believe that there will be an attempt, or there is a plan somewhere to bring the debit monetary system in after this worldwide collapse, because the worldwide paper system must be collapsed in order for the debit system or the 666 barcode system to be brought in.
Yes.
But I sure hope it doesn't get that far, because we will
agree
really
with
be
you.
enslaved.
You're right. No, and I agree with you. You can't have cash money and have people that gives the people the ability to be free in some way, shape, or form, and not be tracked. You know, you can go and buy something with cash, and you can do so discreetly. But once you bring in a electronic debit system, much like the IMF wants to do, you're right. Every move is tracked. Every transaction, every penny you spend. If you want to call it a penny, who knows what they're going to call it?
It's
what
the
is
ultimate enslavement.
Exactly right.
And you will never get out once you're into that.
Well, how are all those senators and congressmen going to hide all those prostitutes they hire if they can't pay cash?
That's a good question, John. I don't know.
I don't think they thought of that.
I don't know.
Oh no, we hadn't accounted for that one. My God, what are we going to do? Well, you know, I'm sure there's going to be a way for them to play their shenanigans, but I'm kind of the opinion of Griff here that I don't think that they're going to succeed, because I don't know if there's quite enough time left for them to be able to enact it. You know what I mean?
Well, there are too many things on the table that can destroy us, and I don't think they can selectively cancel out the bad stuff and go with some of the good stuff that's in their favor. I just don't think they can do it. The Alta report last time had a paragraph about the probability of scalar warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's beyond the nukes.
Right.
And scalar is the ultimate weapon. It can destroy cities, a whole city at a time, by pressing a button. You know, so I don't think the money changers or the people that are interested in putting in a new monetary system are going to prevail on this one. I hope they're not. There will be a lot of dead people coming up. I believe that. The Alta report talked about, what was it, John? 2 billion people dead. They actually had a figure in the Alta coming back through the computer data of the number of people that are going to die. So
now, what do you think?
Obviously.
What do you think? What do you think, Riff? I mean, say you got gold, say you got silver, say you got other things. Do you think that a barter system would be able to take gold if they were enabled?
I don't think it's going to be like people think it is at this time, because of the other situations around the gold. I don't know what the price is today, but let's say $1,300. I've said this so many times, but it's worth saying one more time to make the point.
Sure.
Gold is $1,300 an ounce. You notice I said dollars, $1,300 an ounce.
Right.
Now, next week, if it's $1,500 an ounce, people will automatically think, well, they've made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Then let's say a month from now, 2 months, it's $3,000 an ounce. They will be ecstatic that they've made so much money. But they're really not making money because the dollar is collapsing. You're measuring it against a paper that has no taking that's collapsing. So, in fact, you're not making any money. It's just taking more bad paper to buy an ounce of metal that glitters and doesn't tarnish or rust. So, if the dollar collapses, let's say you have an ounce of gold in your pocket, in your hand, and the dollar does collapse, like the Confederate money in the South in 1865, then I would ask you, what is the 1 ounce of gold worth then?
You mean in 1865, you said?
No, well, I compared it to the collapse of the Confederate money.
Right.
let's say we had a situation like that where the American dollar did indeed completely collapse and had little or no value at all. You still have the 1 ounce of gold that used to be worth $3,000 an ounce. What is it worth then?
Is it $20?
Whose bucks?
Well, is that the opposite of a dough, John?
It could be, if you're in Pennsylvania. What is it worth, Joe?
What's that?
What is the 1 ounce worth then?
I don't know. What is it worth?
Well, what is it worth?
Well, that's my question to you. What is it worth?
But I asked you first, and that was my point.
I have no answer, man.
Nobody can answer that because it wouldn't be worth anything. It would be worth, you could buy maybe an ice cream cone with 1 ounce of gold if you could find the ice cream, but you probably couldn't find the ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
it wouldn't. It's like my example of the rocket ship and the planet. You're in a rocket ship going 10,000 miles a second, and there's only one other thing in the universe, and that's one planet. If you're going 10,000 miles a second and you take the planet away, does that mean you've stopped? Or how fast are you going then if you take the planet away?
If you take the planet away,
Two things in space, a planet and the spaceship. Spaceship is traveling 10,000 miles a second.
Right.
And you somehow remove the planet. Does the spaceship stop?
No. Objects
How
in
fast
motion
are you
tend
going?
to stay in motion, 10,000 miles per second, right?
No, it can't.
Why not?
But compared to what?
Oh, I see.
You know, the odometer and the speedometer in the car measures 60 miles an hour compared to the roadbed. But you always have to have something to compare it with, you see.
Right.
Without that other reference point, you cannot determine how fast or worth of anything.
Oh, exactly right.
So how fast is the spaceship going?
As fast as it's going. I have well, go from it, and you try to figure out. Well, you know, we started here and we're this far away, and this is how long it took us, so we can figure out a speed. But that's it.
There's nothing in space.
Oh, just
there
that
is no
planet
point A or
and
point
the spaceship. Then you have absolutely no frame of reference. You need another. No. You need another reference point in order to do it. You're absolutely right.
But you haven't touched the spaceship, but you've negated all your reference points, and therefore the spaceship is not moving, although you've not touched it.
Right, because it's just empty space at that point.
So what is an ounce of silver worth, or an ounce of gold? It's worth. It's
zero.
Worth whatever you can get, whatever barter
it's unknown.
item you can get.
Right. It's unknown. It's an unknown value. You're absolutely right.
You see, and there are millions and millions of people that think they're making money with gold, and they're putting all of their labor, their work units or their labor, into gold metal, and they think that will have value. It probably, if you were sitting in a group of 1 million starving people,
yes,
in the desert, and you had an ounce of gold, what do you think the gold would be worth?
I would
Nothing.
say next to nothing. Absolutely right.
Nothing.
I mean, unless
That's
somebody had a shiny metal fetish, and they just couldn't help themselves. But outside of that, no, nothing.
Yeah. Well, that's the time, the period that we're coming into, I'm afraid. I think that material goods probably would be a better investment.
Right.
I see antique cars on television, and I always think, well, if I had back in 1775 bought all of those carriages and put them away, it would have been worth more than any other investment, something material. Coming into the future, I think food is going to have that value more than gold. And you won't be able to buy food with gold in most of the instances, I think.
Absolutely right. I think there's going to be two things that trump any precious metal, and that's, well, not any precious metal, but the precious metals that we're used to is going to be food and ammunition and guns. Having the food and being able to defend it. What do you think, John?
Well, I was just going to say, Joe, all them hours of canning that 110 pounds of turkey just made me a Bilderberger.
Yeah, that's right. You're going to be a Bilderberger when all's done. But it's not going to be in the sense it'd be like a hamburger, not like a German word. But you know, there's a guy on here now, Stevie65 in the chat room, and I encourage you, Stevie, in the next hour to call us to talk about some of the ways that you can prepare on a limited income. There are ways to do it, and we all here are very limited to what we can do, and we've done some fairly extensive research onto it. So yes, there are things you can do that you can do to prepare for things, even though you don't have a lot of income. And I guess we can talk about that the next hour, huh, Griff, is kind of get into some of the ways that people can prepare. What do you think?
Well, I think you were right with your idea when you said the best investment is single-ply Scott toilet paper and tampons. I think.
Oh, yes. But
if you had,
that was you.
I thought it was you.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you've said it enough, too, so I'm going to give you credit for that, too. No, you said.
I really believe if you had.
I'm sorry. You had the sanitary napkins as earmuffs. That's the one that.
That's right.
I
think. Let me expand on that again. Also, it's really serious. You know, it sounds funny, but it's really serious. No fooling. If you had toilet paper and tampons, you would really make out in the world if you had a tractor trailer load of each, because everybody, 100% of the people in the world. Will come to your door knocking and barter soup and food and whatever to get a roll of toilet paper. They will. They really will. And the Scott single ply, after looking at that issue, we believe that Scott single ply is the way to go. Do not get 3, 4 perfumed, all of that stuff. You just increase your disposal problem when you do that. But the single ply, the Scott single ply is thicker than the individual plies that make up multiple plies and other toilet paper, and it's got a long shelf life too, you know. So and in the tampons, I use the word tampons because if I use pads, not too many people, 50% of the people wouldn't know what I was talking about. But actually, the pads are better than the tampons. You don't want to get tampons because here's the reason. Women will be more likely to use the tampons longer because of the availability or the lack of availability of new tampons to replace the old tampons, and you will increase infection. The probability of infection would increase as you use them inside of you longer and longer, so you want to stay away from tampons. The pads, always pads, are made in Canada. That's the way to go, and I think there's something like $5 and some cents at Walmart. Walmart has a real good price on those, so stock up on those. And I jokingly have said that they make good earmuffs in the wintertime, you know, to keep your ears warm. I guess you'd look a little silly out in public with that. Maybe you wear a big hat or something. But those two are daggone good advice for the future. The Alta report says this will not come back until 2 or 3 lifetimes have passed, and we'll be lucky to get it back, get our country back. Even then, the probability of invasion into the country is pretty great once our military goes down. You know, and China owns most of us right now.
That's right. No, you're absolutely right. And you know, when we come back from break, folks, we'll go over all this, and I'll go over a couple of things that I've learned along the way that will help your preparation efforts and greatly reduce the amount you have to spend towards it. We'll be right back, folks.
Most Americans know the significance of July 4th, 1776. However, few know the importance of September 17th, 1787, the day the Constitution was written and adopted by our founders. Unfortunately, over 200 years later, this sacred document is under attack, along with our beloved republic. Throughout the span of history, brave men and women have rallied behind banners, which have served as symbols of liberty against the forces of tyranny. Today, we have the Constitution Pride flag to show our support for the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, freedom, liberty, and justice for we the people of the United States. Now available at www.1787flags.com. Get your very own Constitution